Hello everybody, I'm Peter from What Culture, and with me is Ben.
Hello.
From What Culture, and we're here to talk about Star Wars Battlefront II.
Are you still really mad?
Remember that? It did an AMA. Have you read it yet?
No. Was that a Reddit pun? Or was...
No, they have.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, have you read it yet?
Yeah, have you read it yet?
No.
No, I haven't. Was it interesting?
No, I've also not read it. I keep meaning to do it, and I don't know if anything interesting came to light.
Some
journalists, we are. Christ.
I don't imagine it went very well.
Completely ill-informed.
Speaking of good journalism, before we get into talking about the campaign, did you hear about what came out last night?
No.
That the guy who said that he received death threats doesn't actually work for EA and has gone silent on Twitter now.
I did hear that.
And that was picked up and reported on by the BBC and so on, and actually he's not. He doesn't even work for EA.
Yeah.
How much more convoluted can this mess get?
Why? Oh gosh, I don't. Jesus.
Anyway, you haven't played much of the multiplayer, which is where all the issues are here. You've been going through the campaign as a big Star Wars fan,
right?
And I want to know how much you're enjoying it so far. Because you haven't finished it yet.
I figured it was an important thing to do because multiplayer, I need to sit down and have some proper time with that because it's a big issue, and I don't want to go in unless I'm very well informed. But the story mode, some people are thinking, well, that could be the consolation. If this multiplayer is as bad as everyone's saying it is, there could still be a great campaign. Scott Telford, well, is it? It's okay.
Oh.
It's okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay.
Right.
As you, I'm sure you all know from the marketing material, you play as Iden Versio, who is the leader of Inferno Squad, who are an elite forces stormtrooper group. Unit, thank you.
That's okay.
And the game opens slightly before what's revealed in the trailer, which is the destruction of the second Death Star. So you're down on the forest moon of Endor.
Yes.
And see it pop in the sky. Mm-hmm. You're then sent to the Admiral, your commander, and you are given some...
And your dad?
Yes, your dad. And from then on, you have to help execute Operation Cinder, which I'm not going to go into too much detail about.
That would be a bit of a spoiler, wouldn't
Along the way, you'll meet several of your favourite Star Wars heroes.
Yeah.
Not limited just to Luke Skywalker, who is in the trailer, but several others too, who I didn't expect. Not that they're out of completely in the wrong timeline. It's not like Darth Maul appears, but spoilers. But just people from that era who are like, oh, hello.
Oh, I'm just going to pop in and say hello.
Yeah,
that's me here.
How about that? At the face of it, that sounds semi-interesting. Why am I saying it's only okay?
Yeah, why are you saying it's only okay?
Sadly, structurally,
Yeah.
it seems that the team within EA DICE who've been told, please can you make a campaign because everyone really wants a campaign, haven't really been given the resources or the scope or the budget to really, really make something properly standalone.
Okay.
So a lot of the levels are their own specially constructed landscapes for the story mode. It's not just multiplayer maps that have been dropped in.
Okay.
But mechanically within that, what you are effectively doing is just, on your HUD, when you have an objective marker, it will just say defend or kill. And you have to go and kill 15 guys. I mean, there's not a counter, but effectively you go and kill 15 guys or stand and defend a zone while you're getting waves of enemies. It's a bit like offline multiplayer in a way, mechanically.
Okay, two things. That sounds a lot like in Uncharted Lost Legacy recently.
Yeah.
There was a section, you always know in Uncharted games when you're going to reach a bit where you're going to have a shootout.
Yeah, because everything is this high.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was a rooftop thing with death drops all around it and loads of grappling hook stuff between it. And I just thought, this is a multiplayer map.
Right.
This is actually a map for multiplayer that I am currently shooting my way through. I can tell it is. I know what this is.
Yeah.
And Battlefront 1, similarly, pretty much everything in that, apart from very small sections, it sounds this sounds like the most similar thing to what you're talking about, was a multiplayer map. And sometimes the objectives were as simple as go here, and now you've got to go back to this point.
Battlefield 1.
Did I say Battlefront?
You did say Battlefront.
Sorry, Battlefield 1.
Right, yeah.
Also developed by DICE.
Yes.
That might also lend credence to this. But yeah, a lot of the objectives very simple. Story very lacking, and it did just feel like a multiplayer map populated by bots with some cutscenes every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there's slightly more to it than that in Battlefront 2.
Okay,
it's confusing. But yeah, largely that's it. It feels like they probably focused all their energy and maybe initially on the multiplayer, and once they'd got that working, they then said, hey, pick and choose whatever you want from there and drop it in and create a campaign around it. Now you do have, you usually have a squad member with you, at least one, just a friend helping you out, a bit like Uncharted.
Yeah.
And they talk to you, and you've got people on the radio, and there are scripted things happening out in front of you around in the world. So there's definitely some like narrative depth there.
Yeah.
But in terms of you being involved in some like exciting set pieces, that doesn't happen. So things happen in front of you and around you, almost in the background, but there's never a moment where the floor crumbles away and you're sliding and you have to shoot a thing before you hit the ground, or like, oh, quick, leap off. Even if a quick time event, I would have accepted, just to add a bit of like, you're stuck in first person, just shooting all the time, or driving, or third person over the shoulder, just walking around and doing your thing. So
yeah.
I don't know.
That's a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
Is the story, is it got a big enough of a hook to keep you in? Because I know I've played games before, I'm struggling to think of any off the top of my head,
right,
where the gameplay was fundamentally average to plops, but I loved the world and the story so much, and it wasn't necessarily a sort of an original story,
right,
but it was part of a franchise that I already really liked. For example, unpopular opinion time,
yeah,
I wasn't a huge fan of Persona 3.
right,
But I went back and played it and finished it because I was so in love with the Persona series, and I liked the characters and the story, but I found the gameplay to not be that interesting, especially the dungeon crawling. But I stuck with it.
Okay, I would separate out what you've just asked into, you said world and you said story, and I think the world, that is what definitely pulls it up to okay for me, or maybe even slightly more than that on a personal level, and for certain players.
For how she fits into the existing universe.
Almost in as much as like Rogue One.
Okay.
That was very well made and had actual like depth to it. But
right.
Even just in terms of the callbacks, if you enjoyed, for example, in Rogue One when they were walking through Jeddah,
yeah, 'cause it sounded like Jedi, didn't it?
Jedi, yes.
Yeah.
And they bumped into hey, you just watch yourself, Dr. Evazan. It was a bit on the nose, but I loved that. I thought it was really good. Yeah. And that is there's plenty of that in a non kind of obnoxious way in Battlefront 2. Right. So not just, I'm not talking about the heroes who appear, because that's pretty in your face, but just even like you'll hear on intercoms in bases like familiar names, or you'll walk past a location and go, oh shit, I remember that from the film. And it's not even like the focus is on that part of the map, it's like you're just walking through and you go, oh, that was, for example, and this is a non-spoiler example actually, the bunker from the Endor base, you walk past it.
Oh,
as in, when Han and Leia they're breaking into it. Yeah. It's not part of, at no point does the thing say, go to that door and wait, or you just walk in that way and you just go, oh, it's over there.
Right.
And I like that. It's just, they're littered in.
Okay.
But
yeah,
the story itself, the hook is fine. It's kind of intriguing, but the delivery is not ideal. It's everything feels a little bit rushed, a little bit glossed over. You almost don't have enough time to get truly invested in. I think you invest in the characters. They've done enough character building, and the mocap's really good, so you can emote. They emote quite well.
Yeah.
But the story itself, you don't connect with. You don't build a rapport for the cause in a way.
Okay. Is it a bit sort of like exposition?
Yes.
Why do you care?
At one
care
point,
about the things.
Yeah.
Happening?
At the end of sort of Act 2, I would say. I'm about 2/3 of the way through now. Yeah, and there's a cutscene where Versio makes a big decision, and she says, "Okay, I'm doing this thing," and then just a screen comes up and it says, I think it says 5 months later or something.
Okay.
And then it cuts into her like halfway into doing her thing, and you kind of feel like there must have been some interesting ventures between now and then. Like she's deep into it now. What happened to the first
5 months later? She's missing an arm. Or
yeah.
Like, what happened?
Right.
I wanted to see that
for sure. There are some interesting mechanics there that are not available in multiplayer.
Okay.
So hats off to them. You have a little droid on your back.
Yes.
Who can fly around. He can zap people. He can open doors for you remotely. Oh, one thing I love And this is an example of something that's like a really subtle callback to the actual films themselves.
Okay.
Is that if you shoot control panels on doors from like across the room, the door closes. So you can like blow up the panel, which is what they do in the film on multiple occasions. Like, oh, they're coming, blast it, boom, and the door comes down.
Right.
And you can see people banging on the door through the glass. It's just a nice little like, yeah, that's what they do in Star Wars.
That's cool.
They blow door panels up.
Yeah.
So it's just, there are some nice little touches like that, but I know that it's, in total, I will have played for like 6 or 7 hours by the time I finish. You can see how many levels there are, because there's an in-game achievement for each one that gives you some credits to buy Darth Vader with. And I know it's only going to have about 7 hours of gameplay tops, so that's not really enough when it's all very samey. You know, if there was a lot going on in those 7 hours, a big old mixture of things. You know, Call of Duty, for example, doesn't always have very long campaigns, but they like to really throw in their blowing up vehicles and jumping off cliffs.
There's usually a fair amount of variation in
Sure, and you know, if you're going to have a short campaign, I would expect a little bit more variety.
Have you flown anything yet?
I've flown some stuff,
okay,
yeah, there's plenty of that, And for the first time in Battlefront, well, since Battlefront, the original Battlefront 2, you can fly in and out of spaceships up in space. I don't believe you can do that in multiplayer, as far as I'm aware, but within the story, you can fly into the hangars of carrier ships, which is, that's nice. Remember that?
I do remember that.
That was fun. Infiltration.
Yeah.
So, overall,
bit mixed.
Yeah, I think it probably depends where you are on the Star Wars fandom.
Right.
If you love your Star Wars and you liked Rogue One not just for being a great war movie, but for just having like Gold Leader in it with some archive footage. Remember that? They found old footage from A New Hope of Gold Leader going, I'm heading in, because he's dead now. But they like dropped in some unused stuff from...
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, if you like that kind of thing, you're really going to enjoy particularly the first few hours of this. If you are expecting more and you're more of a Call of Duty sort of story mode fan, you might feel it's a bit lacking.
Okay.
So...
All right. Well, I've got some great news for you, Peter. If this is sort of letting you down a bit in the story, I've heard the multiplayer is really good and balanced and fair.
Oh yeah, really?
So I think this is going to push the score up at least by like 15, 20 points to 17 out of 5.
Yeah. That sounds good.
You're going to finish it off though? Deliver your full verdict at some point?
Oh yeah, I was going to say, if we were to do a temporary score now, which is unofficial.
Just based on the campaign.
Just based on the campaign. I'm scoring the campaign here.
Yes.
I would give it like, as a Star Wars fan, 3.5.
Okay.
If you're not a Star Wars fan particularly, more like 3.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks gorgeous. It's Frostbite engine. But yeah, it's just a little bit lacking.
A little bit deflated.
But I'll finish it off. I'm going to play some hours and hours and hours of multiplayer and see how long it's taking me to get 15,000 credits, and then...
Yeah, don't come back until you've unlocked Darth Vader, please.
Okay. Well, have you seen that it's going to take 4,500 hours to unlock every piece of content in the game, or $2,100?
It's utterly bonkers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's not even as insidious as what Activision have patented recently.
What have they patented?
They've patented or patented, if you want to get serious about it. Yeah. Their current model for Call of Duty does not reflect this, but potentially we will see this in future Activision releases. What they're going to do is they've designed an algorithm that matches players who have bought loads of stuff with brand new players, so they consistently lose over and over again, and they're prompted continuously to buy equipment to be able to compete.
You can beat this guy if you buy
exactly. How
P90.
How horrible is that? They're actively going to match you with people who have bought stuff so that they have an unfair advantage.
That is awful.
Isn't that terrible? And it just says it. It's a flow diagram, like a flow graph, and you can just see it. It's like, what? How is this okay? Anyway, it's going to get worse basically before it gets better. So buckle up, buckaroos.
People are defending it as well. Sorry, we're meant to be wrapping up, but people are somehow there are people defending the Battlefront 2 decisions. There will always be apologists.
I don't understand.
Saying like, if you don't want to work for stuff in your game, why buy the game?
Hey,
That's not the point.
Some people like to get shit on.
Yeah.
Some people just like it. I don't personally like it. Some people get sexual gratification out of actually someone getting on top of them and doing a poo on them.
Yeah, lying under a coffee table.
I don't understand it, but there are people out there who will do that. I'm not saying that people who are defending Star Wars Battlefront 2's DLC stuff like to be pooed on.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that there's a good chance that they do.
Scatman. People are genuinely saying, why do you have an issue with this? I'll tell you the specific issue with this is that Heroes, since day one of Battlefront 1 back in 2005, I think it was, have always... Actually, they weren't in Battlefront 1.
Doesn't
but
matter.
Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 1 2
If you want to get serious about this.
have always been available from launch. And to stick behind a paywall is blatantly nothing else, nothing other than a cash grab. There's no justification. You can't just go, oh yeah, now we think people might really like to have to unlock them. No, they won't. They won't.
It's just like Destiny 2 with their shaders, something that was freely available in Destiny 1.
Right.
And now it's randomized and you don't get enough shaders to cover all of your loot. So you need to just then keep rolling the dice until eventually you get what you're after.
To put something behind a paywall that was always available, that is just a blatant cash grab. And you can't defend that. I don't mind working to unlock a few guns or skins or emotes, but I don't...
But I mean, it started simple as well. We're going way off topic now, but it started simple. People used to love unlocking alternate costumes for their characters in games, and then slowly we saw that be phased out and you had to buy it as DLC. Now it's reached the point where it's like, oh, it's got microtransactions, but it's only cosmetic.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even be okay with that.
We shouldn't really.
We should just be able to earn that stuff.
Yeah.
But people have slowly, it's been normalized to the extent where companies think they can get away with it, and they've finally taken a step where people are like, you're doing that to my Star Wars.
Yeah.
You're doing that to my Star Wars? People should have been aware sooner. I'm glad people are finally taking a stand, but it's not like it's just come out of nowhere.
No. It would work if it was Vader costumes available at
Pink Vader.
Yeah, Pink Vader.
I would pay to play as Pink Vader.
Yeah, or like beardy grey Jedi Luke versus like Rebel pilot orange jumpsuit Luke, or Luke with his face all mashed up from the Wampa, which was actually, some people say, was from his real car accident, but it was actually filmed before that, so it makes no sense.
Han Solo in his youth versus Han Solo stabbed, falling constantly through air.
Just flipping everywhere he goes.
Wildly.
Imagine that. I would pay for that. I'd get a DLC.
Imagine coming up against murdered Han Solo just flipping about.
He's just like trying to reach your face all the time, stroke your face. Redemption.
He just keeps saying Ben over and over
again.
Ben! 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 Ben!
Imagine remorseful Chewbacca. Everywhere he goes.
The only noise he makes.
Every time one of your allies dies, he cries again and again.
Yeah. We would pay for that.
Yes.
Actual Princess Leia versus CGI Carrie Fisher.
I thought you were going to say Carrie Fisher as she is now.
No.
Oh, God.
No. The point is, we would pay for this stuff.
We would.
Because it would be amazing.
Yeah.
But they're charging you to get stuff that you already had access to in previous. Are you okay? Are you thinking about what you thought I might have said, which is not what I said?
No, you didn't. I said it, if anything.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, the point is they're taking the piss, and we shouldn't stand for it.
No.
And we should never stand for it. And anyone who is apologising, or just being an apologist for it, probably likes to be pooed on.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but they do, so. Also,
maybe weed on. Or both at once.
Oh, at least, yeah. They've at least, maybe tasted wee.
Water sports, yeah. They put wee on their cornflakes.
Right.
Someone else's wee.
Weetabix.
Weetabix.
Weedinbix.
Yes.
Anyway, we should wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed this. How long have we been going for? Long enough, I think.
Yeah,
so you'll come back with your Star Wars thoughts.
I'll come back with some more thoughts. Yeah, stick with us for more Battlefront news as and when it comes, and coverage and the full review. Yeah. I've been Peter from What Culture.
I've been Ben from What Culture.
And we will see you soon.
Yes, we will.